It's 5 p.m. We are going to call to order the Committee of the Whole agenda meeting. First off, I'm looking for a motion to enter a closed session of the City of Two Harbors Committee of the Whole meeting in accordance with Minnesota Statute Section 13D.05 Subdivision 3B for the purpose of discussing pending litigation.
So moved, Mr. Chair. Second.
Can I get a roll call on that, please, Deb?
Woodruff,
Yes.
Washer,
Yes.
Renwald, Swanson, Passy,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Redder.
Yes. All right, we are in a closed meeting now, and we'll adjourn to the conference room.
A few minutes later.
All right, so I'm asking for another motion for adjourning the closed session and reconvening the public meeting of the City of Two Harbors Committee of the Whole. I do have a motion and a second from Woodruff and Glauser. Could I get a roll call, please?
Woodruff,
Yes.
Washer,
Yes.
Passy,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Redder.
Yes. All right, we have adjourned the closed session and we're back on to appearances. Appearance number one, I have Thomas Fuhrman, Executive Director, Housing and Redevelopment Authority, in regards to the proposed senior housing development.
Thank you, President. What we are looking at is we have slides and we have supporting documents that hopefully you all received earlier. And so what I just want to kind of breeze through really quick is the understanding that everyone does also already realize what an important situation we have, making sure that we get housing within Two Harbors in our community. And I think that this is a golden opportunity to make sure that we have a win for our community. Getting something established where we can make sure that seniors are able to age in place. Excuse me, what?
The mic is a
Am I not being picked up?
Little button on the.
Oh, there we go. Am I better now?
yeah.
Wonderful. All right. So the idea that we're looking at right now is our community, our needs need to be actionable. And what we have here is an option to actually make an actionable item, because we can actually put out an RFQ as long as we have land available to offer the developers that they can look at, walk around, and decide that there's a great place to build. And so if the city council can be willing to go ahead and let us take advantage of this situation, have a few different properties, I think we're in a fantastic position. On our list, we have small builds, medium builds, and large build opportunities. Now, we're just talking here about the senior project. The low-income senior housing project is being a large build, and that's 60-plus units. But we do have an awful lot of small and medium builds in our mind. I mean, we are the HRA, and we can actually start capitalizing on a lot of different opportunities here in Two Harbors to make sure that we build housing. I mean, this is our job. Everyone has their job, this is ours. So, what I would like to propose is making it a situation where HRA can actually do all three of those things. And the first thing is that we're looking at is the large build project and getting a developer on board. But I do want to make sure that you understand, we also have small builds and medium builds that we're also working on, and that's why I would like to make sure that we also, in addition to getting the land, would like to initiate working with legal counsel in getting a tax levy. Right now, I believe that the tax levy is already being tackled by the Lake County HRA, and if that tax levy can actually go to the city HRA, just the city's portion, I think that would really give us a situation where we can start utilizing those funds to get matching grants and others through IRRB, and so we can actually do the development of the land and get housing built starting almost immediately. Now, in order to do that, I realize that this tax levy isn't going to happen immediately, and we might need some other kind of situation, whether it's working with intergovernment transfer. If we can get $100,000 and then pay it back over a certain period of time or something of that sort, I'm more than willing to work with you guys on anything that we can, but I would definitely say right now our community needs a win, and I can make sure that this happens. All right? All right. So running through those wonderful items that I have listed on the second slide, our proposal is hoping to be able to get a commitment providing one of the 3 parcels of land, and those lands I will go through in just a minute. It's drafting and entering into a property agreement so that we can make sure that those lands be able to transfer to that developer. And that way we can actually get it done and completed. This doesn't go without strings attached for the developer because after 15 years, it would be transferring back to the HRA so that we know that it's gonna stay within our community and it's not gonna be a profit-driven mechanism. This is a nonprofit. We are the HRA. We're not out here to make money. We're here to make sure that we provide housing. All right, we have a commitment for waiving water and sewer access fees. That's oftentimes referred to as whack and sack. If we can get that included in that, that'd be great. And this will all go out into an RFQ, a request for qualifications, that we will select that developer. And we want to work with you guys in the process. If you wanted to have somebody come and sit with us while we go through and actually hear the different developers talk about it, give their proposals, when we have questions and reviewing it and everything, we are more than happy to work with you on that because we think that it's such a huge necessary need in our community. We want to include you as much as we can. We also want to extend the pilot program. We currently are in a pilot. Pilot is payment in lieu of taxes because this is going to be a nonprofit place as well. Payment in lieu of taxes as opposed to being taxed at a normal rate, which is the same thing that we already have as long as we are the manager or the owner of the property. If we're not, we shouldn't have a pilot program. All right, a commitment to rezone or replat if necessary. I do not think that we're gonna need a lot of it, but we probably would, if we receive like a large piece of land, like a 40-acre place, we're not gonna need the entirety, so we would receive the 40-acre place, work on the whatever is necessary. 5 to 10 acres is what I'm estimating, and then the other 30 to 35 acres would return back to the city. And we would like a commitment to provide a licensing agreement, meaning that do we just have access to the land for those developers to come and look at it. All right, so the development sites, we have Exhibit A, the Fairgrounds Road. This is just north of the golf course, just south of Fairgrounds Road, and it's very easily accessible by the ambulance service. It's a quick drive to the hospital, and it's actually a fantastic place. We would actually be providing utilities that go right through the area, which is actually part of the comprehensive plan. And this would be setting the stage to allow development going further east along that road. So it would be hopefully encouraging other developers to either build whatever kinds of places are gonna be next, whether that's further senior housing, or if it's single home, or if you guys wanna annex it and say that's the end of it. These are all within your powers. We just want that 10-acre area-ish so that we can get something started and get a win for our community. Exhibit B, and if anybody has any questions, I can go ahead and throw up your hand and let me know. Otherwise, I'll field them at the end. Exhibit B is the Antonich Field site, and the northern portion of that site is R3 zoned, and the southern portion is R2. The northern portion is where we would be building because it's multifamily, and R2 would probably be most used if we have to have any kind of wetland exchange, so that we can actually build in the R3 zone and have extra wetlands going into R2. I'm not sure if we're gonna need that. We haven't done any wetland delineation, and that would be figured out at that point in time. Exhibit C, the last of the large builds, is south of Omnibet Drive, and this is currently 39.8 acres or 40 acres, give or take, depending upon how you map it. And this would be hopefully being able to get the utilities run all the way north within that $500,000 that we have as a grant that we're going to be receiving from IRRB. But this is all money that we know that the community really needs to be able to really get this housing built. And since we're the HRA, we can tap into a lot of these funds that other people can't. So, moving on to the medium-sized, Exhibit D. This is not too far from the Antonich. This is on 17th Avenue, a little bit to the east. Right now, there is not much there. This is kind of close to where Lake Communications Internet, Zito Media is. It's also fairly close to the hospital. It's a good place point. This would be perfect in my mind for multifamily housing, a medium-sized build, where we'd be building duplexes, triplexes, something of that sort. I would love to see it just get developed and let a developer actually run with it. I feel like the land is great. We're in a situation where if we can get housing, let's build it and make it happen. But that's a medium-sized project. And then the smaller size would be the CGOG area, and that's Exhibit F and E. the Second Avenue block, the Second Avenue block is also. That was brought to us originally as a place that we could start looking at what is going to be available to us, whether it become as a block or if it become as individual unit size is the debatable question, and I'll be working with Jennifer Stubenz on that one. But we would try to figure out the best use of that area, because I know that this is the old Serco area as well, and something needs to happen there as well, because right now, I don't know what's gonna be environmentally necessary to be able to clean up the area to have for future, but I think that we would be willing to look at that as an HRA. And of course, the last one, Seagog area sites. These are again in tax forfeiture owned by the county right now, and we're working well with the county, and we wanna make sure that we continue to work well with the county. And that means that we would go ahead and start making sure that the sites for builds are going to be developed correctly in the beginning so that they can be more easily turned into houses. All right, the benefits. The benefits of a 60-unit mixed-use senior housing development projects are plentiful, and we want to make sure that we alleviate the urgent and dire need of senior housing, alleviating a substantial wait list. Right now, my wait list at Bayview Terrace, I chuckle when I tell people that it's 2 years long, because if it were 2 years and that was it, that'd be great, but I have 60 units, right now 58 units in the building available, and I have over 60 people on the wait list. Last year, we went through 4, the year before that, we went through 2 units. If you can do that math, that means that we have a much longer than 2-year wait list. So we went through 6 in the last 2 years, and that is just, I mean, it's great in a way, because that means that people are staying with us at Bayview, it's fantastic. I mean, but the sad side is nobody's able to move in. So we need to build housing. All right.
Could you just define what mixed use means?
Sure. Mixed use, what that means is we are looking at trying to utilize some of the outside sources, such as community partners, to actually be on the ground floor, as well as HDC or somebody that's gonna be able to help with the residents and being able to make sure that they are taken care of at a more higher degree than what just I can do, because I'm not trained in that stuff.
Got it, understood.
Great.
Thank you.
Okay, 2 Harbors Housing community members aging in place, and the hope is that we can actually find a way to make sure that seniors have a way to be able to retire in dignity and stay there. And we're getting a lot more places that are starting to go to the consumer, but we need to have them have houses to begin with. And right now, having people try to age in place in their homes is hard, because those homes are not being well kept, because it's hard when you're getting older to keep up with the roof and the foundation and the yard and the snow blowing and everything. I can't imagine shoveling. All right, so we want to let them age in place. Developing units also called for by the receipt and update of housing study by the, did you everybody get a chance to read the Maxfield study, the update 2022? Okay, if not, I highly recommend it. It's a great 160-page report. Now, if you need to go to sleep early, that might work too. But there are great tidbits out of that really show that we need senior housing. We need labor force housing, we need senior housing. Now, this is what's great about this. So senior housing, we build the senior housing, and we make sure that we have an emphasis on people that are already residing in 2 Harbors to have the first priority. Okay, if we go ahead and build that, that means that the people that move out of their housing and move into senior housing, that opens up housing for labor force housing. So we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone here. So, looks pretty good to me, but of course, maybe I'm biased. All right, the building capacity for local service providers, including community partners and other different organizations, would increase. Builds capacity to plug into local programs and enhance services, freeing up housing stock, which is what I mentioned. It's also giving a lot more green space, picnic areas, trails, other capabilities, because we're gonna be building on a variety of these sites, we're gonna just add to the mix. We're not taking away, including the Harvey Ski Trail. We're gonna make sure that we don't screw that one up. We're gonna make sure that that stays around and is accessible, because that's a fantastic place to make sure multi-generational exercise and outdoor time can be spent. All right, and there's a potential for more community partnerships and resources, such as public parks, gardens, and recreational facilities. All right, are there any questions? And I do know time is limited.
That's what I was just gonna say, I'm sure that we'll come up with a bunch of questions, it's very useful information and very, something that we need to really start plugging and looking at.
I'll be back at 6.
Okay, I think, we'll start saving up our questions until then and try and make it through the rest of the agenda that we have for this meeting, if that's okay with you.
Fantastic.
All right,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Administrator updates. Yep.
Just wanted to update the council on the liquor store land purchase process. We have a tentative agreement on a price. We're doing some checking, make sure everything is in our favor, especially access easements. So we're hoping to have all that resolved this week and would like to have the council consider perhaps a short special meeting next week so we can get the process moving, set a closing date on the land and issue the RFP for architectural services. So I guess at this point, I think we talked about next Monday being a good time, but if you have any other thoughts, or if you want to wait till we do have that ironclad easement issue resolved, then we can let you know that and call a meeting at that point. Whatever your pleasure is.
All right. Anything else?
No, that's all.
All right, thank you. Attorney updates, I see our attorney is out today. City clerk and HR updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just have a couple of items. First, I'd like to add to communications number 3, a memo from Joe Rain of Boatman, Maine, providing a status update on the 2022 street improvement project. You all have received a copy of that at your desks. And then I also wanted to mention that under consent agenda number 5, I had included in the packet a list of election judges. Since the packet was published, I've added a few names and removed one. The names that I'm adding are Crystal Emerson, Jean Frogner, Becky Norleen, Leanne Lindestrom, Holly Buderbaugh, and I'm removing Donna Newberger. She decided she wasn't able to work that day. So that leaves me with a couple of open spaces that I'll fill in the meantime here. So if anyone's looking to serve, give me a call. We can use some more election judges. That's all I have.
Thank you. Finance director updates.
Thank you, Council President. I was just going to point out consent agenda item number 3, which is pay app request number 8 for about $1.6 million for the wastewater treatment plant project. So by far the largest pay request I have gotten. There's going to be more like that, and so I just wanted to point out then that kind of ties to new business item number 2, which is committing financial obligation for the PFA, because we'll be bringing that to you very soon, is the bonding for the project with the PFA. So that should be coming up hopefully the last meeting in July, so we can start getting reimbursed for some of these funds that we've been paying for. But if you guys have any questions, let me know. And then we did get a really nice email today. I just wanted to do a shout out to Jesse Hennon, our cemetery manager. We got a compliment that he is excellent and we should really hang on to him. He provided some great customer service and he really is a great employee. So I just wanted to share that with you because the lady was very enthusiastic about him, and so we really appreciate calls like that.
That's fantastic, thank you. All right, community development planner updates? Do not see, is she on?
She's on.
Disturbance?
Yes.
She is on, but she is not saying anything.
Is her volume
Oh, she's up.
Hi, Jen.
Can you unmute?
Community
Hi, can you hear me
Development
now?
We
Yes.
can, yes.
Oh, okay, thanks. Patty, were you able to add that to the agenda?
No, I was hoping that you would ask that it be added. So they've all got a copy of it, so you can go ahead and.
Oh, they did? Okay, I can't hear you that good. So, if anybody's not aware, the legislature has passed, regulating edibles in town. And so this was just last week, and so as soon as this week hit, there are stores opening up that are selling edibles. There are beverages being made that contain, cannabis. And so we discussed it over the weekend, and we thought that the city should implement a moratorium on these type of businesses, giving the planning commission time to just review our zoning code and make sure that we're ready for this, and make a recommendation to the council. So that documentation is on your desk for consideration for tonight. I think I just want to be prepared in case these start popping up. In case I start getting calls of people wanting to open edible shops downtown. I know that there are some breweries in Duluth that are already making these cannabis drinks. It's a beer, I guess, a seltzer. And so that's for consideration tonight. It would be up to 1 year, and that doesn't mean it will be a year, but it just gives the planning commission time to review the zoning code.
Jen, I just have one question for that. Where would you like to see this item be put under new business number 3?
Yes, please.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And then the second thing is just, I want to remind everybody, I see Councilor Renwald isn't here. Thursday, the 21st, the MS Tram bike ride is coming through Two Harbors. So that evening, you're gonna see a lot of bikes in town, and I believe they're camping at the Lakeview Park. So just to give everybody a heads up, they'll come from by Waback, and then they'll leave on the 22nd to finish it up in Proctor. And that's all I have tonight. Does anybody have any questions?
I don't think so. Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Joe, are you on tonight? City engineer?
Yes, I'm here.
Is it
okay?
I can. Is it okay if I move you under appearances in the next meeting again?
Perfectly fine.
All right, thank you, Joe. Any other additions to the agenda or questions? If not, I'll look for a motion to adjourn the committee of the whole meeting. Still.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Woodruff,
Yes.
Blazer,
Yes.
Renwald, Passy,
Yes.
Erickson,
Yes.
Redden.
Yes, we are adjourned with this meeting.